What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video here on CFL Central. CFL content for the fans, by the fans. Now, Carter, it feels like it's a pretty damn good day to be a Bombers fan, and I know we've said that a
Yes.
lot, but it definitely does feel like that today. Tell the good people what we're talking about.
We are talking about the signing of Nick Taylor and, more importantly, Brady Oliveria. Brady Oliveria signs to a 2-year contract similar to the way that Johnny Augustine just
Yep.
did. So it's nice to see another familiar hometown face sticking around.
Absolutely, as well as we also will be touching on the signing of Nick Taylor. He's not the focus of this video, even though he's a damn good player that I'm happy to have around. But this
Yeah.
Oliveira Augustine situation, it's very interesting. If you're a fan of the CFL, you've seen the rumors. Obviously, you have Kenny Lawler, who is potentially, even though it's not confirmed, but basically 99.9% confirmed, he's leaving the Bombers, which we'll be talking about in another video. But also, Andrew Harris potentially could be leaving the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to pursue his interests somewhere else. We don't know if the money's not there. We don't know if it's mutual departing. We don't know any of that information yet. But I think the writing is on the wall, unfortunately, when you see the third string and the backup get signed to 2-year deals. And then both of those guys are really promising running backs too, right? Like, this isn't like we're signing a guy like Augustine
Yeah.
who has barely played, who is just more of a backup because he's familiar with the system. Augustine's a good player. We covered his stats. And Oliveira, you could argue, is already better based off of only in a very short time in the CFL. So, Carter, why don't you
Yeah.
take people through what you feel like right now is going on with Oliveira and with Augustine before we jump into kind of breaking down what Oliveira is going to potentially
Yeah.
bring next year?
Yeah, well, for those who were very familiar with Andrew Harris, it was pretty much impossible to not be at least decently familiar with Andrew Harris. He's been around for a long time.
One
We're
of the
talking about a
greatest
CFL
running backs, exactly.
one of the greatest running backs of CFL history. He will absolutely be going into the Hall of Fame no matter where he
First
ends
year
his
ballot,
career.
easily.
And we're talking about. I mean, let's be honest here, like, because it was at the end of the season, it was either does he take one more year, break the record, and possibly three-peat if he stays in Winnipeg, and then retire, or does he retire now? Because that's kind of at the stage in his career that he's going to be at. So the fact that the Bombers have locked up their other two running backs and Andrew Harris has not made an announcement of retirement pretty much solidifies the fact that he's most likely going to be moving to somewhere else, as I believe it is tomorrow, you said, which is the deadline, which then allows players to do that. We've already heard about Kenny Lawler signing for $300,000
Hefty
with
price
the
tag.
Edmonton Elks, so a huge price tag there. But obviously they can't make that quite official until tomorrow. So with this signing, I'm someone who I really like Brady Oliveira. Brady Oliveira
So
to
do I.
me reminds me he's very much a young Andrew Harris in many ways. I mean, he's from Winnipeg. He's a local boy. He's built the exact same way. He's all around a great running back. He's really sturdy. He can really just kind of plow through like a bulldozer. So the big question is is he ready to fully inherit that number one position? I mean, we saw some promise from him the start of this year and whatnot when Harris was dealing with injuries and whatnot, and so he's been ready. He seemed to be pretty ready there. But is he going to be ready for 16 games in a row or whatever that may be? So that's the big question, yeah.
Well, exactly. Because it's. I think the way you put that is very true. Because you look at the start of the season, Andrew Harris is out for the Bombers. He was not in the home opener against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, first game back in over a year and a half. And Oliveira was our starting running back that game. And in 22 carries, he had 126 yards. That was his first real time even playing in the CFL, because in the 2019 season, he was only on the roster for 2 games and never got into any real play action. So he had a pretty damn good year being basically a rookie in the CFL, even though technically he was a sophomore. His total stats going into last year, 13 games played, 94 carries, 429 yards, 2 touchdowns with an average carry of 4.6, mostly because he would come in on the short yardage type plays and pump in just for a first down or just for some short yard gainage. He wasn't really our star guy for those big carries like obviously Harris is. I think that a 1-2 punch of Augustine and Oliveira is going to be a really nice balance next year because both of their running games complement each other extremely well. Oliveira can handle a big carry in certain instances, but is also kind of really good in scrum, really good at pushing and gaining yards, fighting for every inch. He's a really, pound for pound type running back in that situation.
He reminds me a bit of like a Chris Streveler, in which
in a sense, yes.
In those situations, I'd say, as a running back.
Absolutely. And Augustine is more of the flashier running back that can make those carries, make a little bit more of a fancier play, and find that hole. Exactly. So I think that this makes sense for the Bombers. Like, obviously, if you're in a situation where you're going to lose Harris, you want to keep around your young, promising, like, draft pick running back from Winnipeg. Like, it makes sense. I like that it's a 2-year deal. My only question now is this the running back tandem that you want going into a potential 3-peat year? I don't think necessarily I'm comfortable with having both of these guys be it. And I don't just want some no-name third string guy to come in from the CFL from another team, some available free agent. I think the Bombers should go out and get a guy that's like maybe another number 2 and split duties with Oliveira. I don't think Oliveira as the number 1 guy next year is the best bet in a 3-peat situation because when you look at his games where he actually got in and played more, he wasn't that most consistent. Now, he wasn't given the most consistent opportunities either. I know that, but I want this team to be the best that it can be, obviously, and I just don't think that on-field play-wise that Oliveira is the right fit right now to become a guy that's going to be rushing over 30-plus times a game. I don't know if he can handle that workload, and that's my only concern. I think Oliveira is going to be a great running back, but even Andrew Harris took a couple years to get into it. So I'm hesitant about the running back position now. I'm definitely feeling it's a weak point on our offense. But I like keeping both these guys around. They're good. They're unproven, and any unproven guy in the CFL can blossom into anything. How do you feel about that? Though? Like, what are your thoughts on all that position? Do you think it's?
I can understand that. I think I'm a little more optimistic about it than you are.
I'm also like to look at everything like a glass half full type of guy. You know, I love Andrew Harris. Obviously, he's one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player of all time growing up, and I want to see him on my team still, but I just don't want to see him chase, and I don't want to see this team settle. That's all I'm worried about. But
I think when it comes to this, I think what's really going to be key is I think before the Bombers make any sort of move to pick up another running back, I think they'll probably test the waters to see how that Oliveira Augustine pairing goes.
We also don't know
and
if
then
Harris
maybe
is
look
going
to make a trade.
We also
maybe look to make a
Harris
trade.
could come back still too. Like we're also just speculation.
The door
right
is
now.
not closed.
The Lawler money, huge. Even if the Bombers offered him like $210K or something like that, right? Like we have some cap to sign Harris. It's just whether or not he's going to choose a bigger payday in Edmonton in a BC situation, for example, or try to 3-peat and go for the record in his hometown, because it's really up to him at this point. The ball's in his court. It's stay home, stay familiar, stay with the best team in the CFL, or chase a bag and just try to see what happens with the season. Because the Elks, let's not forget, the Elks or the Lions, whatever they've done this offseason so far, they're still not good teams. They still have a lot of question marks and a ton of holes. And I don't see either one of those teams with a Harris being projected into this Grey Cup tier contender like we've seen with Calgary and Saskatchewan already.
Yeah, I don't even know if I see them making playoffs.
Exactly.
If it is, it's by slim margins.
So I think it's up for grabs. But I want to focus the conversation. Maybe I want to flip the conversation over so we don't forget about our boy Nick Taylor, who as well resigned on that 1-year contract. Nick Taylor really has been a pretty damn good defensive back in his career. He's been pretty average but pretty reliable. Last year I would say was one of his better seasons since going back to the Edmonton year he had in 2018. 12 games played. He had 31 DTs, and was just a pretty good, reliable guy back there to come in and make those plays that you need to make as a defensive back. And I'm glad to keep him around. Like I've said 1,000 times, familiarity is key in a chance where you're trying to repeat as a champion. And I don't have much to say there. I'm glad he's back. I think he's a good player, and anytime you keep a blue and gold guy around for another year, it puts a smile on my face. What are your thoughts on that, buddy?
I mean, it's a solid. To me, it's a solid depth signing. It's something where you, like as you said, you want to keep guys familiar with the system, especially with the defensive system that they had last year. In combination with the defensive players they had, it made it the fiercest to be reckoned with when it came to CFL defenses. So, keeping around as much of that, I think, is one of the key focuses of the Bombers, which is why they locked up Jefferson and Jeffcoat so early in this free agency time
Big
period.
Hill
So
as
I think
well
this
was
is
pretty early, yeah.
Yep. I think this is a great signing.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts, though, guys. If you're a fan of the Bombers, a fan of any other team, there's a lot of stuff's going to be going on in the CFL. It's going to be tough for us to cover as it breaks, but don't worry. We're going to probably do I have to say probably because it depends how many signings tomorrow happen, but we're going to try to do a free agency recap at least some point over the next 48 hours. Day 1 and day 2 are probably going to be pretty damn crazy. So yeah, stick around, turn on notifications if you haven't already. This is going to be a really fun upcoming season. First full season in almost 2.5 years of CFL, so I am pumped for that. And free agency is going to be a damn fun time. So let us know your thoughts on these 2 signings. Let us know your thoughts on any other signings that have happened that you want us to cover. We really appreciate all your guys' support and feedback down in the comment section below. As always, make sure to go check out the description for all of our affiliated links. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and all the other stuff down there as always as well. So yeah, have a great rest of your day. Peace, love, and positivity from both me and Carter to you. Enjoy your time. Get hyped for CFL free agency. And it's going to be a pretty crazy, hectic week coming up, I have a feeling. So thanks for watching this video, and bye-bye.